Well, I know what you're thinking. Are there 4 or 5 Dirty Harry films in the franchise? Seeing as how I've got the Blu-ray sets right here and the label says that there's 5 films, you gotta ask yourself one question. Are you ready to review them? Well, are ya, punk? What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode on my channel. As always, I'm Jay, and guys, I am back with a review. This time, I'm reviewing my first time watch of Dirty Harry, the 1971 cop classic starring Clint Eastwood and one of his most iconic roles ever. And guys, I am going to be delving into some spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen the film and you know you want to, definitely go ahead and check out the film, come right back. But if spoilers don't bother you, or you've already seen the film, let's delve into my thoughts on Dirty Harry. So the film Dirty Harry centers around Harry Callahan, who is a police detective inspector in San Francisco who's been on the job for quite some time, and in this, his first big screen outing, he's actually going toe-to-toe with a Scorpio killer who has held the city to ransom, and each time his ransom demands aren't met, he kills people randomly. Of course, this was inspired by the true-life event of the Zodiac Killer, but as far as this goes, it's a really good, fantastic film, and it was one of those things where I've been building up to watching this for quite some time, along with the rest of the films in the Dirty Harry series. It's one of those classics that you just kind of really want to sink your teeth into just to see, you know, how good they were and if the hype is real, of course. And in this instance, the hype was real, and it exceeded my expectations for different reasons. So the actual film itself, it's very awesome on action. It's jam-packed, and the thing of it is that with these older films from the 70s and whatnot, you don't expect much technically or story-wise, and if anything, you're actually watching these half the time expecting a lot of gaffes. But this film was actually well done, well-paced, and it is, like I said, jam-packed with a lot of action. There's a lot of exhilarating chase sequences. It's a big-time cat-and-mouse game between Harry and the Scorpio Killer, and there's just so many awesome little scenes in here, including the iconic line delivery in the bank shootout where he goes on to talk about his .44 Magnum.
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track myself. But Ian, this is a .44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
But in addition to that, like I said, cinematically, this film actually did some pretty cool things, and one of the best shots overall was actually one where he's chasing the Zodiac Killer in a football field, and the camera goes on a super close-up, and then it goes super wide, and the camera just goes way, way, way out of the stadium into the San Francisco sky, and I thought that that's definitely one of the shots that always will stick with me for sure. And throughout the course of this, there's a lot of themes about different, aspects of the kind of the legal aspects, rather, of police work and stuff. What's legal, what's not, what is law and order versus what is justice. And of course, with Harry's case, what is the line he's crossing, which really kind of adds up to police brutality, as it were. And I thought it was interesting because Dirty Harry, I always thought it was because he was a crooked cop or something like that. And it's not necessarily that. He's called Dirty Harry because he takes the dirty cop jobs that no one else wants to take. He actually reaches into the filth and kind of gets his hands dirty on doing all the things that no one wants to kind of deal with, as it were. And it really does make a lot of sense because the film takes you to a lot of those seedy underbelly areas in San Francisco, and kind of that atmosphere is definitely promoted in a lot of the spots that you see him go as a character, and kind of the things that he has to deal with in terms of getting perpetrators and kind of in his pursuit of the Scorpio Killer. Story itself, mile-a-minute roller coaster ride, and it just ramps up the tension, ramps up kind of that suspense, and it takes you places you didn't think you would go. It's like just when you think that he's got the Scorpio Killer, slips through his hands, whether it's just the sheer fact that he's a slippery bastard, or again, tying back to what's legal, what's admissible, how the police procedurals kind of play into, the aspects of him actually getting the man. But ultimately, in the end, he gets his man, and, it pays off big time in the end of the film. Another big thing that stuck out with this film is the soundtrack. Right off the bat, the soundtrack is this kind of funky, jazzy kind of beat, and it just kind of has a little swagger to it. And it actually reminded me a little bit of the Enter the Dragon soundtrack, which makes sense because after I watched the film, I realized and read up on it but both of the films share the same musical composer, as it were, soundtrack person, and I thought that was pretty cool. So overall, guys, I give the film personally a 4 out of 5. I think it's a great addition to film and cinematic history. Clint Eastwood's performance, the direction and telling of the story, and the different standouts, including the themes and the musical numbers, and the cinematography really played well to make this great, awesome cop film, and it's definitely a high recommendation on my list. So go and see it ASAP if you haven't, especially if you're a fan of cop films or if you're a big fan of Clint Eastwood and everything. But overall, like I said, I had a blast with it, really enjoyed the film, and I will be reviewing the other films in the series as well. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. And again, if you dug the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and if you are subbed, make sure to hit that bell button, that way you never miss a moment of my content. But until next time, guys, as always, I'm Jay, so take care, and bye.